by this angry male who wanted to talk about the slut culture in today's society. And all of this stems from, I suppose, his anger and him wanting to rant about this school in Memphis, this high school by the name of Frazier High School in Memphis, Tennessee, that has experienced 90 pregnancies. Well, actually, it's 90 girls who are either pregnant or have had children this year. And he was going on and on and on about how the reason why these little girls or these teenagers are behaving in such a way is because today we have this slut culture. If you're not a part of the solution, then you are a part of the problem. So in the midst of his rant, not once did I hear him offer any type of solution as to what we can do to maybe prevent another 90 teenagers in that school or any school from getting pregnant. Now, teenage pregnancy is nothing new. I'm the product of a teenage pregnancy, and I had my first child at the age of 17. But if we're going to curb this problem, then you can't just get on YouTube and rant and refer to females as bitches and hoes and sluts. That's not helping. Not once did I hear anyone hold these young men that these women had sex with accountable. Because, like, one response that I read, females don't just become pregnant, they get impregnated by males. So where are these boys, these teenage boys, these young men? Why isn't anyone holding them accountable? Why is the responsibility and the shame of it all always placed on the girls? Why do we as a society tend to just toss condoms at boys and pretty much say, here, go out and fuck everything with a pussy and a skirt, and just make sure you wear a condom so that you don't catch a disease or get anybody pregnant, and just, kind of wash our hands of it and leave it at that? Why isn't anyone teaching these boys that condoms can break? Condoms are not 100%. There are sexually transmitted diseases that condoms cannot protect you against. Why are we encouraging these children to go out and to have sex regardless, when so many of them don't even have an understanding of what is really going on inside their bodies? So I know, for one, as a parent, I talk to my children and I pretty much treat them like young adults. And I tell them straight up, if you are not prepared to become a parent, don't have sex. It's that simple. Every time you lay down with a person, regardless if you use birth control, a condom, or whatever, nothing is 100%. Whenever you lay down with that person, you know what the act of having sex, you know what the possible consequences can be, which is, its purpose is to create another life. So every time you lay down with someone and you have sex, you are basically entering into a contract. whether it be spoken or unspoken, that look, these are the consequences and we're going to deal with them. But you go into it knowing that there is a possibility that a baby could be conceived, could be created from your union, your mating with that other person. And I think that if more people viewed sex in that way, instead of just something to get a nut off, then a little bit more responsible about who they choose to lay down with, or if they choose to lay down with anyone at all. And if we weren't so quick to just toss birth control and condoms at these teenagers and give them a real understanding of everything that goes into sex, emotionally, spiritually, physically, everything, instead of just, it's something that just feels good, maybe they will be a little bit more responsible with it. I had a teacher in high school that just told us straight out, like, young people, you are not making love, you are just fucking. And any two dogs can hump. That does not mean that they deserve to be or are ready to be parents. And as a society as a whole, we need to be a little bit more mindful and be a lot more responsible of how we deal with the topic of sex. No one is bringing up the types of things that these children are watching on television or the music that they're listening to. And if you don't think that those types of things have an influence on our children, and hell, have an influence on you too, then you're delusional. So I just wanted to say, we need to start thinking of more solutions instead of, just pointing the fingers and throwing these children under the bus and being so quick to refer to these girls as sluts and that they're following slut culture, and no one's referring to these young men, these little boys, as sluts. There's no double standards in my home. A slut is a slut and a whore is a whore, and it knows no gender. We need to start holding these little boys accountable. And mothers need to stop having these attitudes like, well, it's always mama's baby and papa's maybe, and you don't know if that's your baby anyway. And it's just sad. It's sad to just watch our families and our communities crumble and deteriorate. We have to do better. We do. We just have to do better. We really have to, like I said before, teach these young people about everything that goes along with having sex. The mental and emotional and the spiritual aspects of it. Parents, pay more attention to what your children are watching on television. Even simple shows like things that come on Disney that you think are innocent, they really are not. They're teaching these adolescents to just be boy and girl crazy and to be deceitful and dishonest with their parents, to be disrespectful. And the music, we need to pay attention to the lyrics and the message that the music is putting out and not just the beat. And stop trying to be friends with your children and be their parent. They need parents. They need guidance. There won't be another story about, 90 teenagers in one high school becoming pregnant or having had a child. Let's talk about it, but let's make it solution based, and try not to make it so much of finger pointing. And let's try, what can we do? Do we need to talk more? What can we do? Because it has to be more than just telling them, look, Planned Parenthood is down the street, get you some condoms and some birth control. It has to be more. I can't stress it enough. They have to know that sex is more than just the physical act. There are emotional and physical and mental things that also go along with having sex. And it doesn't seem like anyone is sitting down and explaining that to them. Just cover up the dick and screw up your hormones with some birth control pills and just leave it at that. But you don't talk to them about the other things that go into having sex. And I think that would be a start. That's one solution. So, what are some other solutions that you have that might be, that we might can use to kind of get these young people to understand that it's not a game, that it's serious, and that it's not a Cabbage Patch doll that you put in the top of the closet when you finish playing with it. That it's a baby. It's a real human being. That it's going to grow up and it's going to have its own thoughts and ideas and feelings and emotions. And that it needs food and shelter and clothing. What can we do to get them to know that it's real? That it's not a game. Solutions, people. We need solutions. Peace.